Hello, this is Lisa Nickel, host of the Sacred and Rooted podcast. Welcome. This is the beginning of the Happiness Habit series. I did this series last summer and I want to continue it this summer. So if you haven't heard any of the Happiness Habit series episodes from last summer, you're welcome to go back and listen to them anytime. They're back in episodes 18 through 28. And then obviously if you've listened to them already, but maybe you want just like a big, huge injection of happiness habits, feel free to go back anytime and listen to them. They're, again, episodes 18 through 28. So this episode is officially Happiness Habit number 12, and that is why it's number 12 and not number 1. This one is titled Why You Need to Plan Your Solo Time or Vacation, however you want to look at it today or as soon as possible. So a little bit of the backstory. I've been in Italy for the last almost a week now, for not really specifically for vacation, but it has worked out that way. I was at an engineering conference and presented there, which was the reason to even be in Italy right now. But I'm here by myself, and there's not a ton of people at the conference that I know, and nobody from work is here. There's just nothing at all. I'm totally plucked out of my regular life and just plopped right into Milan, and it's been fascinating. I would have told you a few weeks ago if anyone had asked. Things were hopping, there was a lot going on, but that I was just like, it was fine, it was all fine. I've got some quiet time here and there. I've got like some exercise going. I've got like healthier eating. It seemed like everything was pretty fine. But when I've gotten here, I realized just how much I take on and handle in the run of a day or a week or months or years in this case. And so it's been a real pleasure to literally, spend some hours at this conference, and then literally the rest of the day is like my own thing, and it feels like such a vacation, and it's not even a full vacation, which is crazy. So that's when I thought, okay, listen, I need to do this more often, and really have an actual vacation and not just, go and work, but actually, because I don't have anybody to tend to or anything going on in the evenings, or, take a day off at the conference to just have the whole day. That just made everything seem unbelievably spacious. So I can only imagine what an actual full downtime period would look like for me. But I thought I would include this in the happiness habit because I think it's really, really important to highlight. Even if you I love to tell people, obviously you should trust yourself, but I would almost just want to tell you to to call your bluff on yourself and to book yourself some solo time. It doesn't have to be an official vacation. It can be literally just everyone else out of the house and you're, on your own. Although I would recommend, if you can, to go somewhere other than your house because at least for me, there's so many things I could be doing at my house, which I just obviously cannot do when I'm not there. And so that's just another level of literally there's nothing for me to do here other than, record podcast episodes if I want, but I also don't need to. There's no demand on my time, which is incredibly healing and it's restful. It's very restful. And so whether you can organize it so that, you're just at your house, maybe you have a family member or friend who's super low key, you're not going to have like, a lot of demands put on you if you're visiting them, where you can kind of just say right from the start, you're looking for a lot of quiet time, and then they can host you, or plan a vacation where you're just at a hotel somewhere. It doesn't have to be even out of town. It can just be somewhere away from your area of town. So you're not, encouraged to go get some errands while you're there. But to really book something once a year, if not, maybe at some point I'll get more of them, but I'm thinking to myself right now, it's going to be a once a year thing, because it has so flushed out, stress. My mind is so much less busy because there's just less. It's like I'm so far away from everything. There's less stuff to consider. And like last night I slept like 12 hours, which I haven't done that in ages. And then when I got thinking about it, the last time I went somewhere on my own that wasn't for any reason was I went to a retreat a few years ago. And that was gorgeous and lovely. But it was still organized, daily things to do, people to meet on that stuff. So like as far as just having literally unscheduled time for yourself to just listen, slow, literally lay in bed for 12 hours if you want, sleep, read, rest, sit on your balcony, sit on wherever you are. Like it's just unreal, the like luxury of that. And I think we need to really begin to do that regularly so that as women we can be resourced, like we can feel as though our well is full, and that we then return to our lives. Maybe we reorganize some things because now we're a little wiser on really like, how certain things could be reorganized a little bit with minimal, to just make your life easier and to make your, your ability to handle life a little lighter or not required. Because just because you can do a whole bunch of things doesn't mean you have to or should have to. So if there's an opportunity to redelegate, to, reorganize sort of the share of responsibilities in the family dynamic or your roommate dynamic, wherever you are in your life, to consider that and to realize just how good you feel when you have nothing to do and nothing, just like literally whatever comes up is, oh sure, yeah, I'll go do that. There's no time frames, there's no appointments, there's no, all you have is whatever you want. In my case, I brought a couple books. I brought anointing oil because I'm in a course this year for that, so I've been catching up on some of the training for that. Just whatever I feel like, and go eat, and I don't even know where I'm gonna go eat. I just go wander down the street in a different direction and find a place. It's very lovely, and it's been priceless as far as just really kind of letting go of a lot of stress and a lot of cords that I didn't really need to maybe be holding on to either. And then also just some of the things when I get back, I'm not just going to pick back up and keep on it, because now it's like I can't do that anymore because it's not the same. It's like a different, more serene Lisa coming back to Ottawa tomorrow. So this is what I think, this is what I guess inspired this entire episode. And so I just wanted to put that out there so that if you're listening to this, you can kind of consider how, there was a question way back on one of the very early episodes where it was like, how can I make my life work better? And sometimes it's really obvious that your life isn't working in different ways. And other times it's really this like more subtle, insidious thing that just kind of builds over time. And so when you give yourself these gaps, literal gaps in your regular life, I'll put that in quotations, where you're just by yourself, it's like a different place, a different location, so you're not, you don't have the to-do list rolling in your head. It's just like, it just allows whatever needs to come to the surface to come to the surface, because you're not dealing with 1,000 other things. And then it allows like the deeper truth of like, what are you doing here? What would be, what is something that I guess here for me is even more example of myself. Like I've literally just walked like so much more than I ever do, because where I live right now is a little bit out of town. So I drive more than I've ever driven in my life, because I used to live in town before COVID. And so during COVID, we moved into the country. Not even the country, it's like the very edge of city. But it is like a, half-hour drive into town wherever the kids go to school. And a lot of their activities are not in the town we live because they want to play with their friends. They want to be on their regular teams, which is totally reasonable. And so that was always something I knew was going to be a thing. But then now this week I've walked like, 10 to 20,000 steps a day, which is way more than I've been doing. And like all these little ailments, these little mini ailments where I was like, oh, maybe I'm just getting a little older or this or that, or not resting enough. So yeah, I should get some more sleep, and I totally should have. But yeah, the walking has been phenomenal. So now, and I don't even know how this looks yet, but I am going back. And even if the driving's never going to go away. Although the girls do have their license now, so it is reducing because they can just drive themselves a little bit now, which is great. And so, but like to fit in that much walking or exercise in general every day, because it has made such a difference to just literally my body, but also my just general mood, physique. It's been lovely. And it's like the Italians are so awesome for that, because I don't want to say everybody, but there's a lot of people that walk. I mean, they probably laugh at North Americans as far as the 10,000 step thing, where it's like, yeah, no kidding. Good idea, guys. You're super smart. But like the setup here is just made for it. And so you can live in the city and walk to everything you want, or take the train, but then you still walk in the beginning and the end of your trip. And so that is the lifestyle, at least in the cities. And so it's been a really good influence to just really see like the stark difference from this week versus like, last week, the week before, whatever it is. And then also just as a quick example, I'm at a coffee place getting a tea because I don't really like coffee at all. But so I'm ordering like my green tea, my jasmine green tea. I love it. It's so, so good. That jasmine flavor with the green tea is so perfect. Anyway, so I'm getting this tea, and I think I got like a yogurt thing, and I was running late to go to this, the next session of the conference. And so I said, can I get it to go? And they look at me like I must have said something crazy. And they're like, to go? And I'm like, yeah. And so it just is hilarious because nobody does that. So then when I was walking down towards my conference area, I'm noticing at that point on the street that there's literally nobody walking with a coffee or a tea in their hand. There's nobody like chewing on a muffin or anything like that. Like, you sit down and you eat and you enjoy your food and your drink, and then you get on with your life. And so that's just such a beautiful influence the Italians have given me, I guess, this week. And so I wanted to convey it to you, because it's just hilarious the way that our culture is so much, it's set up with like, the drive-throughs and the driving a lot. And then also, everyone is walking around with like a coffee in their hand downtown in the morning. Like it's just, there's like hardly anyone that's not. And so it's just a totally different way of living. And I think it's one that allows for a lot more pleasure and meaning, because you just literally stop and, smell the roses, basically, where you are enjoying your food, you're enjoying your drink, you're enjoying, the birds flying by or the trees or the like whatever the like scenery is. You're just taking a breather, and then you move on and you're walking, and then you're walking. You're not doing anything else. You're just walking, and then you get to the thing and you do your work. But it's like one thing at a time, a little more than what we're used to in North America, I'll say in general. So that is today's episode. I hope you can find some time, create, it's everybody's different. So just start creating some space for yourself in your life that's totally solo, totally not in your regular home, where you can sort of just reconnect with yourself and see what happens and see what comes up for you, and then how that sort of allows you to get the energy to want to pivot your life in whatever direction you may want to have it pivot. But it's great to get off the freaking merry-go-round, or what is that, miracle? No, it's not miracle. Merry-go-round. Is it merry-go-round? I think so. That, the thing on the little kids ride, the horses at the fair or whatever. Like it feels like that, where it's like every so often you just need to get off, watch it go around or don't watch it go around, but get off, reacquaint yourself with just stillness, and then get back on and keep enjoying the ride with a little bit of a different flavor, because you're now a little wiser, and a little more aware of yourself and your needs and your own desires over anyone else's, or just life in general's desires, or societal desires. There's so many things. There's endless amounts of external pushes and pulls that we're accustomed to, or we're trying to like reattune to. And I think sometimes we just need to realize that that's not actually one that we want to pick up. So let's put that one down, and we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna, we know enough about ourselves now at this point to choose the better choice for us. And so that gap and space with a solo time, so like it doesn't have to be an official vacation, but solo a few nights, solo whatever, would be, I would say it would add so much to your life, and just open up the potential for so much more meaning and pleasure and joy in your life, if you can kind of like reassess just with yourself, with no influence from others, and then get plucked back, plucked out of your vacation, put back into your life, and then see how your choices differ, how the way you are literally being in your life differs, and go from there. All right, so I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining me. It's great to have you tune in, and I will see. Oh yeah, I did want to remind you, I guess, too, that I'll leave it in the show notes, but I do have a link to a freebie, which is a video, and it goes through three ways to reduce stress today. So if you wanted to kind of like dive a little deeper, it's a video I made, I think, probably a couple years ago now, but if you wanted some more inspiration, dive a little deeper, that's there in the show notes, so you can click through there. All right, take care, and I will see you in the next episode.